on the grind. Elevate, elevate, this is our time. Elevate, elevate.
Good morning, folks. Hope we're doing well on this beautiful Thursday morning, May 28th, 2026. I hope it's as cold as it is here where you are. But don't worry, we're bringing the warmth. And it all starts now, babies. Happy to be doing this. Happy to be on the show. Life is good, man. Life is good. Remember while we've been talking quite a bit, but a couple months ago when the Terrebonne by-election was taking place and Marilyn Gladue went across and you could just feel the air just pulled out of the sails of conservatives everywhere. Really frustrated, whether they be the more populist flavor of conservative, whether they be the Alberta separatist flavor of conservative, whether they be the, I'm just a moderate conservative, whatever you may be, it was just kind of, you knew Mark Carney wasn't the answer. You knew Canada got duped. It was rough to watch, and then you saw Marilyn Gladue pull that off, and you're just like, give me a break. And then to add insult to injury, you had the likes of the Liberal Party had the audacity to see these by-elections take place in Scarborough and Terrebonne and for the third one is Rosedale take place. And you see Carney come out saying, the Canadian people chose us. And that just just a knife to the soul, wasn't it? Because you could feel the air just come right out of the movement across the country. It was like, it's over. We're in this for 3 years. And I saw it. I saw it in the chat. I saw it on our comments and our videos. I saw it on social media. Seeing it in some of those in and around the Conservative Party, that this feeling of defeat became all too real. And I remember kind of being stunned by that reaction. Not so much surprise. I guess maybe stunned's not the right word, but I was maybe disheartened by the reaction because I felt like we are still in the middle of a game here, folks. We haven't lost. We're still okay. And no one else believed me. No one else seemed to share that sentiment that I had. And I remember when Dimpy Brar came on the show a handful of weeks ago and said, I believe there is a silent majority in this country. They're just demoralized right now. And I said, you know what? I agree with that wholeheartedly because I'm seeing it in real time. Because I'm looking at Mark Carney, I'm looking at his caucus, I'm looking at how they function and when you bring a bunch of people into your party and you don't align on ideology and the only thing you align on is us keeping our jobs, that's a very frail coalition. Very frail. You look south of the border and the coalition that was created through Donald Trump. And yes, it's kind of seen its own fractures in a lot of ways, but at least it was aligned on ideology of America first. Where the ideology of the Liberal Party was they claimed it was Canada first, but their actions all showed something different. And so as they move on, the fractures continue because the ideology was never about Canada first. The likes of Sean Fraser was going to go in a hideout in Pictou County, Nova Scotia, because he knew his time was done. His job was out. He didn't have a job anymore. He had Anita Anand, who was going into hiding as well. I'm going to go be a Prophet McMaster down in Ontario. Then all of a sudden, Mark Carney comes back in the picture, and all of a sudden they have all the excuses in the world to come back into politics because it was always about their jobs. It was never about you. It was never about the Canadian people. It was always about their jobs and their job security. So when a whole coalition and party is built on that, and then you bring in these floor crossers, you have the likes of Michael Maw, who I would say is allegedly a CCP asset. You bring in the likes of Matt Genereux, who, I don't know much about the individual. All I know is he may have led many in his life astray, at least those in the party, I should say, about what he's doing. So he isn't like the most upstanding guy and wasn't the most active participant, or MP, I should say. And then you have the likes of Marilyn Gladue, who is, an interesting person from what I've heard, and maybe a little strange, and but also very conservative. And then she was brought over. And of course, Chris D'Entremont, who literally told Rick Perkins, said, I have to switch over because I'm going to lose my job if we go to an election here before Christmas. So everyone who went over for their own personal reasons. They claimed it, because Mark Carney's such a great leader. Never was about that. We know that Marilyn Gladu was bribed to go over by her own admission. You had the likes of Michael Ma. We don't know what happened there, except for he has some strange ties to the United Front Work Department. You have the likes of Chris D'Entremont, who was just panicking and needed a job. And then Matt Genereux, who just wanted job security too. And everyone went over for their personal reasons. It was not about Canada, never was. So with that being the backdrop of how this coalition was put together, it will come apart just as easily. And that is a reminder that I have to utter today. It's because that's exactly what we're seeing. We are seeing in real time, we said Mr. Guilbeault is leaving. Nate Erskine-Smith is leaving. Jonathan Wilkinson is leaving. And guess what? It is now being reported that there are more Liberal MPs getting ready to potentially put in their letter of resignation this summer. I said it last week where Mark Carney was going to make history as the first prime minister to gain a majority via floor crossing and then lose that majority in the same year. When I said that, I was thinking maybe around November, December, that could happen. Didn't expect it all to start happening this month. A week later, after I said that, didn't expect it to happen. But that's how frail this is. And that's why I really just need to implore the conservative base, those who want to see change, that the emperor is not wearing any clothes. The brother is butt naked, okay? And the walls are closing in. Bill C-22 is another example of that. They are fuming over Bill C-22. Gary Anasongari, everything this man touches turns to chaos. This man, they must hate this brother. This brother must be so hated in that party right now. They keep giving him the worst things that could possibly happen. They keep giving it to him. They gave Justin Trudeau's failed policies around the gun grab. They gave that to Gary, and look how awful that's gone. And he even being caught on tape saying, yeah, this thing's never going to work. Oh, shoot, did someone catch me saying that? That happened to Gary. And now Bill C-22, and we know that that whole recording is out there in public. We know that's what he said. And we know that he doesn't really believe what he has to say. He doesn't believe in the files he's been given, but just has to execute it on behalf of Mark Carney. Now we have Bill C-22, who, in very creative language, essentially was telling tech companies that you need to build a backdoor to your encrypted services so that we can track down the bad guys. Big tech came out and said, no, not going to happen. Get lost. Signal says we'll leave the country. Windscribe, Canadian company, saying we will relocate and pull a Brookfield. You have NordVPN, who said something along the same lines. Shopify said you better reconsider or we have to start taking some actions. Wink, wink. Not going to say what that might be. Google and Apple said, get lost, screw off. And then Apple showed up in committee yesterday. It was a gong show. That on top of politicians from across the aisle saying, heck no, what is this? It blew up in Gary's face. It blew up in Carney's face. And this is the thing was, it's all about protection. It's all about the people. This is an example that was brought up. How about this? How about let's operate in good, if this is really in good faith, if you truly care about safety of Canadians, then let's do a single issue bill and let's all get on board with it, okay? Single issue bill. How about we pass a bill that makes it obviously makes it illegal. It's already legal to a degree, but let's revolutionize and modernize our laws and make sure we give some serious jail time to people who use another person's likeness in AI, P-word, you know what I'm saying, ends with an N. How about we start with a single issue like that? That's one that we think we can all get on board. Then maybe we can go to the second issue. How about this? Something myself and Reg have talked about on the show. Something they did in Norway is giving a person the legal copyright to their likeness. So if anyone does anything, they can be sued into oblivion. Maybe something like that. No, we're going to give you Bill C-22 because we want to protect you. Because no, it's never about protection. It's about what they have to say, what they want to do. And it's never about giving any type of freedom or liberty to the individual. And over their person and their being, it always must be exercised by those in government. That's all they've ever brought to the table since this 45th Parliament has started. And as I said, this 45th Parliament, I said this yesterday's afternoon's video, 45th Parliament is one of the stupidest parliaments I've ever seen in my life. This thing is drunk. This is the drunkest parliament I've ever seen. It's crazy right now. I thought 44th Parliament was nuts with the supply and confidence deal, Jagmeet Singh essentially controlling our government. I thought that was nuts. This is getting to another level, my friends. And this is something Reg and I talked about yesterday, and I'm going to give him full credit for this. We are 100% in double overtime. And people need to recognize that we are still in a game where the next goal still wins, and you are very much still in it. And these wins that we are picking up are big momentum shifters. Don't believe me? Okay, how about this? Here's a nice little signal for you. Let's have some fun, shall we? Let's have some fun today. Elizabeth May being asked about Bill C-22, and this was her reaction, folks.
You support the lawful access bill?
Not a chance. We have to absolutely, sorry, Gary, but it is absolutely appalling that we're basically setting it up for tech companies to insert spyware to report on us to the police. Not something, so it needs a lot of amendments. We'll say that at a minimum. I'm working on amendments. Merci. Over to you, Gary. What do you think?
I think we need to get you a briefing.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved this moment. This was one of my favorite moments from yesterday outside of Guilbeault resigning, was Elizabeth May saying, heck no, am I ever voting for this stupid bill, this lawful access bill. Never in your wildest dreams will I ever vote in favor of this. I'm not going to give more powers to police to surveil us, more powers to tech companies to surveil us on behalf of the police. Not going to happen. Hey, Gary, do you have something to say about this? Come on up for... It was great. That was amazing timing. Great comedic timing. I couldn't agree more with Elizabeth May on this. And I'll be honest, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it. As much as I very much disagree with a lot of Elizabeth May's political stances on issues, over the year, I should say, as I've been going to Ottawa a little bit more, talking to a little bit more people in these circles in federal politics, I've begun to very much grow a soft spot for Elizabeth May. I'll be honest. From just a personal perspective, I think she's actually a very fun individual and someone I would love to just hang out with and love to get a drink with and chat with. She seems like such an enjoyable individual, and I would love to have intense debates over that drink over policy. It'd be amazing. But she's someone I've genuinely started growing a very huge soft spot for, and quite honestly, I have to give her respect as a person the person who is a one-person party right now in Parliament. She's come out and made some strong stances against the current government as well, and aligned with the Conservatives on these issues. And I have to give her respect, as much as we will never agree on her environmental policies and policies around energy, that we'll never agree on those issues. The fact that she's come out against the censorship that this government's been trying to push she's gained a lot of my respect on that regard. So I had to put that one out there. And this was another one of those moments where she said straight up, there's no way in God's green earth I'm ever supporting this bill. Stupid. Hey, Gary, want to come over here? Well, I guess we're going to have to give you a brief on this. From the same Gary who admitted that the gun grab was nothing but a show. yeah, I have a hard time believing Gary also believes in this one too. Shout out the Tamil Tigers, by the way. Awesome. I hear they're a great group. I hear they're a fantastic group. They're a great individual group. However, following up with this, Tamil Gary, Gary was here talking, and he was asked about how his feelings towards big tech over this was after getting absolutely whooped by big tech on this. And this was one of the first times in his political career that I've seen where he gets visibly emotional, visibly frustrated. And you can tell the pressure on this whole thing is driving him up the wall. This is a perfect 2 minutes to chat with.
Where big tech, whether it is Apple, Google, or the range of other big tech companies, are operating without any type of accountability, without any type of protection of privacy. So when we talk about privacy, there's a real conversation to be had as to what that entails. So the companies that are coming forth and talking about privacy protection, talking about vulnerabilities, better step up and provide their path to how they're protecting the privacy rights of Canadians.
Do you believe tech companies are misinforming Canadians on this bill?
I believe there's a number of areas of misinformation. And to be very clear, the encryption issue is one we will clarify, because this bill was never meant to breach encryption. The language is very clear. It's about systemic vulnerabilities. To us, we read that as ensuring that if encryption is breached, then that would not be allowed. So we will clarify it in the bill, and we look forward to working with the opposition on an appropriate language that we can live with. But also, the level of misinformation that is out there really doesn't speak to what the bill says, right? So for example, when we talk about metadata, and again, we will clarify what metadata is. Metadata, it does not imply that we are looking for backdoor ways of collecting information. This is about retention of data, and if you look at the Five Eyes G7 countries, they have very similar types of legislative tools that are embedded within their lawful access regime. Canada, incidentally, is the only country that doesn't have a lawful access regime. So it is not.
This is the thing. And so seeing how frustrated he got at the beginning of this, they're peddling in misinformation. They're making my life hard over here. It's getting difficult. I can't explain this away anymore. Five Eyes, that's something people should respect, right? Five Eyes, we're doing the same thing as the Five Eyes do. Funny how we're really the only nation that was looking to do something like this. So either one or two things here, Gary. Either you are incredibly incompetent and don't know what you're talking about and didn't talk to the experts, as the Liberals love to tout that all the time, didn't talk to the experts on this issue, or you guys knew exactly what you were doing and wanted all the control you possibly could get, and then tried to flout around the issue of, oh no, it's a misunderstanding. You don't understand the words. You don't understand the English or the French. It's bilingual. English or the French part of this bill. And that's what they kept. Sean Fraser went on the same BS. Robertson being on the same BS. That's the messaging, right? Oh, it's just a misunderstanding. No. It seems like everything you do is a misunderstanding at this point. Oh, the gun grab, it's just a misunderstanding. We don't want to penalize lawful gun. Shut up. We don't want to hear it, man. We don't want to hear it. We get it, man. We get it. So, yeah, he was not pumped. He was visibly frustrated about this. And, well, as he should be, because he got mollywopped all over the place. So we'll see what happens with what the amendments are. The beginnings of the walk back have officially started. Start walking it back. Okay, amendments. All right, Elizabeth May, what are your amendments? All right, Conservatives, what are your amendments? Because now this blew up, because Liberals have never been interested in working with the opposition ever. That was the first time I ever heard that from a Liberal. The reason being is because this blew up in their face so badly that now they actually have to show that they might be willing to work with other parties, even though they've not been interested in doing it whatsoever. Villainizing them, yes. Working with them, no. Now they have to at least show that they want to. Not saying they're going to take the suggestions, but they're going to have to make it look like they want to work with them now because this was a gong show. And the chat's popping off on this. I'm love to see it right now. And it's a good time. We have the likes of Enchanted. Says, just watch the Guilbeault interview. Super interesting. But when MPs leave the Conservative caucus, it's Pierre's fault. But when MPs leave the Liberal caucus, it's the MP that's at fault. It's funny how that works. I'm glad you caught on to that theme, right? Oh, the Conservative caucus is falling apart. 4 floor crossers. Okay. So we're looking at what is it, 7 people who've resigned from the Liberal caucus this year? Like 7, we're going to have 7, close to 7, 6 or 7 of them, if I'm counting right. But no, that's not about Carney's leadership. Oh, we have different priorities, different things. Give me a break. Okay. Good call out by Enchanted on that one because it's true. Mannerus Maximus says, good morning from Annapolis Royal. Let's go. Annapolis is a sweet spot. The Valley, beautiful place. Hopeful the collapse of Carney will allow for elections sooner than later. We need to save the country. Elbows up for China. I love it. I love people are still using that emoji. That's amazing. This is what I have to say about this is I would love to see an election happen sooner rather than later, 100%. I just need that the Conservatives have to be in a much better standing than they currently are. Because I'll be honest, if an election gets called today, we're getting smoked. We're going to get smoked in that election. I'll be quite honest with you. The Conservatives really have to start realizing that, well, we're back in the game right now. We're in a double overtime game. We can still win. Next goal still wins on this one. We're not out of it yet. The series isn't over. We can still pull this one off. We may have been playing a little Montreal Canadian style hockey and only shooting 15 shots a game. But we have room to improve. We can improve, and we can still win. We're not out of the series yet. And that's just what that needs to happen is that machine needs to get going, and hopefully some moves start being made over summer here and start realizing, oh baby, we could be in for a very, very tasty fall. And if the Conservatives can get aligned on messaging, get aligned on issues that really resonate with the Canadian population right now, where they look at it and be like, yes, hope. That's what I need. Because right now, what people are going to hate me for, it's just a reality that we're facing, is Canadians, first off, the Conservative base is completely demoralized, so you have to reinvigorate those folks first. Then secondly, you got to look at the moderates in Canada and realize, okay, what is everyone struggling with right now? Okay, cost of affordability, power, housing, all of this. And these are things that, in fairness, Pierre Poilievre's been talking about quite frequently and have given decent solutions for. The thing is, the solutions that have come out of his mouth have grown stale to the electorate, unfortunately. I'm not saying it's fair to him, but it's the reality that you're dealing with. So now you have to still attack those same issues that you've been successful at attacking, but you have to introduce them and go at them in a different angle that just hits the ear differently for people. Unfortunately, that's the homework of the Conservative Party that they're going to have to figure out, and they need to figure it out soon because the opportunity is there. It is so there right now, baby. And as I said last week when we saw Poilievre over in BC making some very certain statements, some very loud statements about some very controversial issues, that's moving in the right direction. That is definitely moving in the right direction. Now that we're talking about the Cowichan issue more, we're going to be referring to that today. It was Aaron Gunn was going at Mr. Robertson in the committee over that. We'll be talking about that later today. That's what's going on. Because the big thing that Poilievre could be hitting right now and should be, don't even worry about Trump anymore, baby. Don't worry about Trump. Don't even talk about Trump. You don't need to. You've got to talk about one country only. It's a red country. Hammer sickle country, the yellow hammer sickle. It's a beautiful country, but it's a red country. It's China. You can talk about China. Elbows up. You know what? Poilievre, I think it's time to start your own Elbows Up campaign. Elbows Up for China, baby. That's what's up. That's what's going on here. So we saw this happen yesterday morning. We'll replay it for the sake of just refreshing your memories of what's going on. We don't know what we're sharing with China in terms of intelligence and police cooperation. And that was asked by Judy Trinh of Mark Carney yesterday. And again, he blows it off because it's Judy Trinh. And he doesn't like her and doesn't like female reporters. But anyways.
Minister Wang Yi later this week paved the way for a visit by President Xi Jinping. And you said previously that there are guardrails in place in Canada against foreign interference, yet your government has not released publicly the RCMP MOU signed with Chinese police. Why is that?
We don't make a habit. I'll answer the second part of the question first. We don't make a habit of releasing security documents with other governments for reasons of operational security. That is standard practice for this government, previous governments as well. So I don't see a reason to change that in this circumstance. So thank you for that question, but that's our policy, and that's what we stay to. I look forward to the visit of China's foreign minister tomorrow. I will have a chance to meet with him. It'll be a valuable exchange of views, and I appreciate his arrival. Thank you.
So you want to hear more about that MOU that we did with an authoritarian dictatorship in China? Yeah. No chance. We're not telling you nothing. We're not going to be doing jack. We're not telling you nothing about that, man. Get used to it. It's just because it's just a part of our operational procedures here. We would never just share that information with anybody. We can't let people know what we're doing here. We know that China's an adversary. Out of your very own mouth, you said that China was the largest threat to Canada in the last election. You said it yourself. But again, you only say what you got to say to get elected, right? That's Mark Carney. That's the thing is, I'm not a politician. Remember that I'm not a politician. You're a very good politician. You're really good at telling us telling people what they want to hear and then doing the old switcheroo at the last second. Very good. I would say you're better than Justin Trudeau on that, quite frankly. And so that took place. Remember that? You're not getting nothing. No MOU for you. However, then this presser took place yesterday from the Montreal Institute for Global Security. Says China is uses referring influence tactics across the G7, including cultivating elites, leveraging Beijing-linked groups, transnational repression, and media partnerships that push pro-China content with little scrutiny. Catch these 2 minutes. Beautiful thing.
We identified several recurring tactics in areas of foreign influence. First, elite cooptation. The cultivation of political, economic, and academic elites over time is something that is clearly seen in all G7 countries. These efforts often operate through access, prestige, ego, partnerships, business tie, and long-term relationship buildings. So in the report, you will find examples from the UK, for example, with the case of Christine Lee, who had close ties to senior politicians in the UK. In France, the case of, for example, former Prime Minister Jean-Pierre Raffarin or Laurent Fabius are well known in France. In Italy, we're seeing a lot more local politicians being targeted, especially through ego and promises of development. Second, we also go into friendship associations. We identified a wide range of Beijing-linked associations that are important channels of foreign influence. There are business groups, diaspora groups, student groups at universities, cultural and professional associations, and academic networks. We also go into transnational repression and police stations. Laura Harth did a very good article yesterday in the Globe and Mail. Third, we also look into the media. In Italy in particular, there are now close ties between Chinese media and Italian media, official memorandum of understanding. So that means that the deal provide Italian outlets with free, ready-to-publish Chinese content, overwhelmingly positive in tone and lacking editorial scrutiny. So basically, that is being used to basically change or influence the narrative on China.
Did you hear that? China did a deal with Italian media to publish Chinese narratives to, influence the view of China abroad. Does that not sound like the deal Mark Carney signed with China in the CBC? And then all of a sudden, CBC started doing all these fluff pieces on China. They're doing it to everybody, man. This is a part of how they exude their influence across the world. They're never going to be the nation that's going to go toe-to-toe with you militarily. Not going to happen. They've had to figure out other ways to do it, and this is what they're doing. They are incredibly smart. It's cerebral, and it's gone to the way, and they've leveraged the woke ideology so to get away from any type of scrutiny. Did you just say something about, like Mike Stewart says it in our show all the time. Criticizing the CCP is not being racist. Yet that's how they've done it. And that's how they've gone about is any type of criticism of China, Xi Jinping, the CCP, the PRC, the United Front Work Department. You risk being bigoted and racist. Luckily, that has been losing its luster recently. But that's how they do things. And then they try to extract cultural relevance onto your population. Now it's becoming more and more discouraged to rip on China here in Canada. It's funny how that works. So we do this media deal with Chinese media. CBC starts doing a bunch of coverage of China. Preferential coverage. We all saw, I think, CBC or CTV Local in Vancouver that did a whole thing about, I'm going to go on a boat over, I'm going to fly over to China. Look, I'm in Shanghai. It was weird. It felt like it was a weird tourist commercial that was paid for by, I believe, our tax dollars. I'm pretty sure it was CBC. It was weird. This is how China's operating. Now we have a prime minister who is a puppet of the CCP. Whoops, did I say that out loud? Woohoo! Yes. When the CCP was advocating and pushing for Mark Carney to be elected, yes, you are now definitely a puppet of the CCP. And that's what we are now witnessing. We can't release the MOU because Beijing said so. So here we are. We have a prime minister just dragging us closer to communist China. Because our previous prime minister said he has a great love for the basic dictatorship of China. And now we have our current prime minister is very, doing more deals with China in an effort to diversify away from the United States because Washington bad. Woo! It's a fun time, but this is how China is leveraging their influence across the globe. They are smart. They're not stupid. And the thing is, we Canadians are acting real stupid around this, and we need to start smartening up. Because the reason why I'm showing this, the reason why I start off with Mark Carney, the Montreal Institute, what they've been sharing is because some big moments are now taking place south of the border in the United States with a very famous streamer by the name of Hassan Piker, who may or may not have connections to CCP funding. Whoa, surprise. I'm stunned. You're telling me that far left creators in the United States may be getting funded by communist China? I wonder why. Crazy. We are very much in an ideological war right now it's the West versus China. The emergence of communism did not die with the fall of the Soviet Union. It just went dormant, and it resided in China, and now China is the one pushing it. And their influence is getting more and more real. The NDP is littered with pro-CCP propaganda, littered with it. It's happening in the U.S. as well, and parts of the Democrat Party. And this is stuff that's breaking, and that's why America's trying to clamp down on this stuff. They subpoenaed Hassan Piker to get more information of who he's linked to, who's been funding him, who he's connected with, because he went on a trip to Cuba with a bunch of other far leftists. It says here, Hassan Piker, Code Pink, and Cuban officials collide in widening foreign influence investigation. Last week, the U.S. Treasury Department launched a federal investigation into foreign influence and issued subpoenas to influencers, including controversial online streamer Hassan Piker, who describes himself as a Marxist, and Susan Medea Benjamin, a co-founder of Code Pink, amid a broad investigation, who also, by the way, is married to Neville Roy Singham, who is a big CCP supporter, American who now lives in China, who's been learning from China, and has a plethora of cash to flood the system, and has been donating, giving money to pro-far left groups to push CCP propaganda. So when you see Code Pink, see Susan Medea, that is the wife of Singham, who has all this cash, who's been trying to flood the system to push pro-CCP communist ideals. Both Piker and Medea Benjamin recently traveled to Cuba together with several progressive activists, including the Democrat Socialists of America, to bring awareness to what my government, the United States of America, has done to the Cuban population, Piker said in a post on X. Roy Singham, a wealthy American businessman who lives in China and is married to Code Pink co-founder Jody Evans, has reportedly pushed pro-China, pro-Cuba, anti-U.S. narratives and street protests for almost a decade. Code Pink received $1.3 million from Singham after he married Evans. And I made a mistake on that one. I thought Medea was, sorry. That was my mistake on that one, folks. However, Medea Benjamin, still very much huge activist and very much is a huge tool used by Singham. I mixed up the names on that one. My fault. And huge piece being leveraged right now. And the thing that's cool is, well, not cool, but what we're doing is, because of everything that's coming out about Hassan Piker right now, and the money that's being floated and being talked about, and Hassan Piker sang like a canary already. He said, "Oh, but Neville's been funding everybody." He said that on a stream live. I'm like, dude, this guy gets one subpoena and he starts losing his mind. This is what's happening. And so what's taking place, or we're watching what's taking place with Hassan Piker. It's taking place with these influencers in the States, these far left influencers who are being funded, likely. A lot of them, we'll find out. Hassan Piker is just the start of it. A lot of them being funded by these activist groups. We'll see how well connected they are here in Canada. We at the Elevate Report have already started our own research on this. And we're compiling our findings, and we're going to be releasing a report in the coming weeks about this very issue and how it's impacting Canada. There's already a far left group who has been very active in trying to stop and oppose energy development here in Canada. And yes, we may have gone through their books, looked through their numbers a little bit. Turns out over 58% of their donations are from foreign entities, whether it be governments or non-governments. Over 58% of their funding is coming from outside our country. And we're going to be looking into groups like them and so much more. We're leaving them nameless for now until we finish our investigation and research on it. But this stuff's happening. And China has got their tentacles into everything and everyone. And I can't wait. We want to break this one wide open because I want to see the same energy from our Canadian government that they did for Tenet Media. Bringing in the likes of Lauren Southern, Lauren Chen, to see, hey, what was your involvement with Tenet Media? Their connection to Russian government. Talk about it. And I agree. Let's find out. Let's get to the bottom of it. I 100% agree. If this foreign influence is foreign influence, let's talk about it. But let's not shield ourselves from foreign influence if it benefits us. Let's talk about all the foreign influence. And here we are. This is what we need to do, is we need to break this stuff wide open and put pressure where pressure is needed. Because if Hassan Piker is directly connected to this stuff, again, one of the most successful streamers on Twitch, what's going to happen? And this is what's the issue, is he's a problematic individual, obviously very much disagree with all of his takes, most of his takes. But the thing is, we demonize Americans who have politics that we disagree with in Canada. We're a liberal country. We're a left-wing country, okay? We will always demonize politicians from the States who are on the right wing. Oh, you can't come here. Oh, no, the far-right rally because they showed up. Yet, CBC The National covered a story where Hassan Piker was invited to Vancouver to speak at an event that's typically an NDP-laced event. And it was all about how awesome he is and how he disagrees with the Alberta separation movement. Okay, play a little bit of this. Hopefully I don't get dinged. We'll play only a minute of it, though.
Popular political commentators on the left, especially amongst younger people.
He has to do that because affordability is a real issue.
He spends his days online, sharing his thoughts and opinions with millions of followers on Twitch, an interactive live streaming service. Commentator, interviewer, and in Canada, crowd when he came to this country for the first time earlier this month. He delivered a talk at the University of British Columbia's Chan Centre.
He's consistent with his politics, always sticking up for marginalized folks. I think that he has a great worldview.
He consistently stands up for trans people, queer community, minority groups.
His presence, though, not without controversy. Several Jewish groups have accused him of anti-Semitism, lobbied to have him barred from entering the country. Piker was in Vancouver as part of a speaker series on U.S. policy when we sat down with him. Some viewers have no idea what Twitch is, what streaming is, what you do for a living. So what do you do?
I do what conservative radio talk show hosts have done for years, but as a socialist.
And you are interacting with people the whole time. Explain that to me.
Yeah, so I try to have a dialogue with participants. No, it's never going to be a grand fracturing of the party. They're never going to fracture. So it's kind of like if you ever wanted to yell at the television, at CBC, for example, yell at one of the anchors, hopefully not you, you could do that, and then the anchor would hear what you have to say and then sometimes even respond.
So that's a little bit of that piece. You can watch it there if you want to go watch more of it. But they do this fairly friendly piece with Hassan Piker. And it was fascinating to kind of watch this because, let's be real honest, God rest his soul. If he was still alive, Charlie Kirk were to come to Canada for an event, you think you'd get the same treatment? Probably wouldn't. There wouldn't be this inquisitive investigation piece. Oh, who is this figure? What's he all about? What's going on? And seeing what he's been doing in his connection to a lot of the funding that is coming from linked to China, flooding the system in America to push communist ideals. He's at the center of an investigation right now. And yet here we are in Canada, like, oh, yeah, what's this guy all about? With no real investigation of what he's really all about. People have been really suspicious of him for a long time. And now he's finally getting subpoenaed because he could be a national security risk in America. But anyone who's an enemy of the government in America is a friend of Canada's these days, right? Here we are. The reason why I want to call this all out is because this stuff is happening in Canada, and we need to do some serious work here in Canada to rout it all out. That's why we are looking into it on our own end. We're seeing the investigation that is taking place in the U.S. on some of these creators and the money that's linked to some of them. And we know that some of that money is being linked to nonprofits and charities here in Canada who are advocating to push against Canada's own interests. These people need to be exposed for who they are. Some of them are willing participants. Others are just useful idiots. But it doesn't matter. CCP is making their presence very well known here. And they're pushing their ideals. And there's a reason why you're seeing the hatred towards the United States grow and love for China increase in Canada. It's not by accident. It's not organic as some politicians would like to suggest it is. It's very, very real. But we keep moving forward here. We got some super chats that we got to catch up on here, folks. You guys have been talking up a storm here. I did like that part of that piece, though, when he's talking about, you want to yell at the TV, yell at the news anchor. Well, I'll talk to you. And it's actually, here we go. It's how it goes, man. That's my favorite part of these live streams, is doing that with you guys. I love seeing you guys yell at me. It's fun. It's fun. Funny Crazy Production says, hey, Josh, Elizabeth May would drink you under the table. She probably would. Probably would. Boy says, take your crappy bill and stick it where the sun don't shine, Gary. Amen to that, brother. Sunasol Silver says, I'm getting tired for people like Gary and Tiki Masala. What? Gary getting paid by taxpayer money to be incompetent while hardworking Canadian citizens suffer. Yeah, it is annoying when seeing politicians make a ton of money doing this to us. Upwards of $200,000, $250,000 a year. And if you're a cabinet member, higher. Nylock says, Pierre saying he's going to actively campaign against Alberta independence is shooting himself in the foot. He needs to talk to us, not at us. People not happy. I agree with that. Here's the thing, man. There's probably a way to have better communication around it, but it's definitely a reaction for him. He's running for Prime Minister of Canada. He can't, he can't take a overly sympathetic view to the case. That's the reality that he's catching himself in. And sure, is there a more creative way to go about it? Sure. But that's the position he's in. Nylock also follows that up with, Carney looks like he's getting the Chrétien mouth. Fair enough, Eeks. FYZ X says, I didn't respond yesterday with my email because I don't want to dox myself. I was asking if you received previous emails. I sent one today as verification using the email you have on your YouTube. We go through our emails. We try to go through our emails as best we can. We are, well, as I said, the reason why I've been so busy is we're actually in the process of building out our team here at Elevate Report. So I'm not going to, hopefully soon won't be a one-man show anymore, and we'll be able to be more on top of emails. I've been trying to go through them and comb through them as best I can, but it's very likely I could have missed it. But I'm sure, I just don't know who you are. So we get hundreds of emails. So I'm guessing you might be in there. Mike Stewart says, all roads lead to communist China. Sure does. Jay English says, I talk to a person in Cuba at least once a week since I left in February. I've sent him money where I can, but it is hell down there for them. Anything you send, government takes and then sells to the people. China's there. I imagine so. Yeah, I've been hearing about that, where that's actually what the exact thing that Rubio was talking about was they're done. Like, people keep sending money to Cuba and it keeps getting stolen by the government. So it's kind of wild. Diane Martin says, a little something to help with your investigation and cover your time into this. Thank you, Josh and Reg. Thank you, much appreciated. I appreciate the love and appreciate the financial support. Sunasol Silver says, I can't believe Josh is reporting on Dog Shocker. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. That whole thing was, he zapped his dog live on air. It's crazy, dude. I'm over here trying to be cautious in what I do and how I talk, and then those guys over here shocking his dog, and everyone still loves him. It's insane. Mike Stewart says, I have much information on China's activities around the globe. Let me know how I can be of service to Elevate and to Canada. Yes, please send it to hi@elevatereport.ca. We'll make sure to monitor that email because we're starting to look into all of it today. And I've sent folks, sent actually someone who's working for one of our researchers who's looking into it today. So we're starting on it and going in hard. So we keep going forward, and we'll finish off with some of these stories. Okay. So the Cowichan decision, housing, private property rights, people are getting freaked out about it. Rightfully so. They are a little nervous about this at the moment. And they got Gregor Robertson, housing minister, in to committee and being grilled by Aaron Gunn. We'll probably play the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of this because then you get the point. It's just the constant back and forth. But watch how Gregor Robertson tries to just do the jig around the bush. Look at the bush, maybe poke the bush, walk around the bush, and continues to beat around that bush, okay? Fascinating back and forth here in committee.
Private property is a fundamental human right?
Through the chair. Well, first and foremost, I do believe that housing is a human right. And here in Canada, private property it has been, I think, protected for generations.
Okay.
And that is what obviously a topic that's come up a lot in these recent months.
Of course, especially in British Columbia, as I'm sure you know. Do you believe Aboriginal title should and can exist on top of or in conjunction with existing fee simple title of individual homeowners?
Through the chair, I think we've seen to date no challenge to private property as a result of Aboriginal rights and title. And I think there's been a lot of fear-mongering lately that is saying that.
But Minister, do you believe that Aboriginal title should and can exist in conjunction with the fee simple title of individual homeowners?
Through the chair, I think that they have coexisted to date here in Canada without issue.
They have coexisted. Okay, Aboriginal title. So on what basis are you appealing the Cowichan decision then?
Through the chair, I am not appealing the Cowichan decision personally. The Government of Canada is appealing alongside the province of BC and the city of Richmond and several First Nations.
Was that not the part of
the decision that was made?
But was the part of the decision that led to the appeal not the fact that the judge ruled that Aboriginal title is existing in conjunction with fee simple title on the private property of homeowners?
Through the chair. So to be very clear, I'm here to talk about the budget estimates for the Housing, Infrastructure and Communities Department.
It's a simple question, Minister.
You're talking about a legal question, which I think should be addressed to the Minister of Justice first and foremost, as the Canada's authority on this.
Do you acknowledge that the Cowichan decision has created uncertainty for homeowners in BC?
Through the chair, I think the uncertainty is being whipped up by some of the members around this committee table.
So you believe it's unjustified? Unjustified uncertainty?
It is unjustified, given there has been no conflict to date with respect to private property created by agreements with Indigenous nations.
Then why are you appealing the Cowichan decision if it's not a big deal?
Again, through the chair, I am not appealing the Cowichan decision.
Why is your government appealing?
The government of Canada is appealing, and you can ask the Minister of Justice if you want a rationale. It is well documented.
So you don't think? Okay, so that's fine. So you believe that on the appeal, it doesn't really matter whether we win or lose as far as it concerns individual homeowners. You believe there's no threat to their private property, to their title, irrespective of what happens on the appeal.
Through the chair, again, we're here to talk about budget estimates for my department, housing and infrastructure.
So there you go. That was fun. So this is the Mark Carney way of doing things, okay? No one in this government takes any accountability. You caught it there. I'm not the one appealing it. It's the government that's appealing it. Okay, stop being stupid. All right, it's literally what Mark Carney did. Oh, I'm not the only person who speaks for the government. I have a great team around me. Any time that accountability comes up, it's always it's about the government. It's about the team. It's never about me. And even when the Prime Minister is saying that, when the buck stops with him is saying that, you know that this is a strategy that they're deploying here. Robertson's trying to do it here. That's not me who is appealing it. It's the government. I just happen to be a cabinet member of that government. I'm here to talk about housing. Yikes. But this is the game they play. And something to keep in mind is the government really does, again, they keep trying to play both sides of this, is we're going to appeal it, but we don't really want to really change anything about this. But we want to make it look like we're grandstanding to make it look like we're doing something. And it works to a degree with regular people. Well, I said, well, Mark Carney, he's putting pipelines in, isn't he? Mark Carney, he's really, fighting to try and bring investment to the country, isn't he? Mark Carney is really trying to get the best deal for Canada with the Americans, isn't he? Those are things he said. None of them are true. And that's what Gregor Robertson's doing here as well. And we'll end off with some fun. Wayne Long in the House of Commons yesterday. I'm going to try not to make fun of him anymore, because maybe he actually has like a medical condition that I am unaware of. That is why he does what he acts the way he acts. But anytime he tries to go at Pierre Poilievre, anytime he tries to go at the Conservatives, it looks like he just takes everything in him to do it. Just everything in him, like every ounce of air in his body. It just takes... It's painful to watch, but watch this.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are tired of the podcasts, bizarre workout videos, and empty parking lot press conferences. They're tired of it. On this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, we're going to build the strongest economy in the G7. Abroad, we're signing trade deals that bring billions of dollars to our country. At home, we're cutting taxes. Time for them to put down the kettlebells, help us build Canada strong. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Enough with the podcasts. Enough with the bizarre workout videos. We're here to build Canada strong. Are you? Are you? Okay. Well, according to Gary, Canada is against you on Bill C-22, and that's not too happy. Not too happy about that. Apparently, we're having secret MOUs with adversarial nations, and it's none of our business, though, okay? But Canada strong. Keep building to Canada strong. Got it. Understood. Oh, man. We got Lorraine Tim saying, watch the Viva Fry video with Sean Buckley. I'll have to take a look. I don't know, but I have to, yeah, I'm interested. Kimmer says, didn't Long want to cross the Conservatives last year? Did he? I didn't know about that. That's news to me. But that's probably why he's bitter, because I wouldn't take him. He's upset about it, boys. But we're going to leave it there, folks. We're going to leave it there. We'll see you this afternoon. And we're looking forward to continue working away on this whole situation of how CCP's been kind of flooding money into the system here through in America and in Canada to push pro-CCP objectives. And looking forward to getting into that and sharing that as the weeks progress here. But thank you so much for your patience and your time. Whatever it is you're doing, wherever you are, have yourselves a good one. I'm out.